Welcome, everyone. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vinvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We share the screen. And we have first topic. Defining our faith. A threefold answer to the basic questions: who is a Hindu and what is Hinduism? January 2006, Publisher's Desk. I had the opportunity recently to give a number of lectures, classes, seminars, and presentations at our monastery in Hawaii, in Hindu temples in Toronto and Edmonton, and at the Dharma Summit 2005 conference of North American Hindu temples and institutions in New Brunswick, New Jersey. During question and answer sessions and in casually talking to those attending, discussions arose on who is a Hindu and what is Hinduism. The concerns of those asking the questions varied considerably. Therefore, the nature of my answers also varied somewhat. I compiled my responses in a threefold answer that you may find useful when these commonly asked questions come up in your community, business, or social circles. That is a question for you to think about. I'll give you a minute. How would you define who is a Hindu and what is Hinduism? You can come up with more than one. I've come up with three ways of looking at it. So at least one. More is better. Who is a Hindu and what is Hinduism? The first part of the answer to who is a Hindu and what is Hinduism is that Hinduism is the Sanatana Dharma, or eternal religion. It is the innate perennial philosophy. Hinduism does not have a founder. It has neither a beginning nor an end. It is coexistent with man himself. It is not one man's teaching or interpretation, nor is it limited to a single facet of religion. It consists of the entire prism. It is a God-centric religion. The center of it is God. All other religions are prophet-centric. Gurudeva quote: "The search for truth for God is called the Sanatana Dharma, or the eternal path, because it is inherent in the soul itself, where religion begins. This path, this return to its source, is ever existent in man and is at work whether he is aware of the process or not. There is not this man's search and that man's search. And where does the impetus come from? It comes from the inside of man himself. Thus, Hinduism is ever vibrant and alive, for it depends on this original source of inspiration, this first impulse of the spirit within, giving it an energy and a vibrancy that is renewable eternally in the now." The idea that Hinduism resides within each of us, in our soul, was highlighted in Hinduism Today about 10 years ago in an article about Pat Robertson. As part of his goal of making the United States a Christian nation, the evangelical Baptist leader made an outrageous public statement that Hindus should not be allowed to immigrate to the United States. Pretty outlandish. Our high-tech industry would collapse without them. The late and distinguished spokesman for Hinduism, Ram Swarup of New Delhi, gave an insightful reply, which we printed. In part, he stated, Robertson wants to keep out Hindus from America, but would he be able to keep out Hinduism from the seeking humanity? Hinduism resides in all seeking hearts, and whenever man seeking for God becomes spiritual, Hinduism, or the tradition of Sanatana Dharma, automatically comes in. In what way and how long could man's innermost truth be kept away from him? Beautifully said. Whenever man's seeking for God becomes spiritual, the tradition of Sanatana Dharma automatically comes in. As expressed in this statement and in Gurudeva's insight, the Hindu concept is that each soul is moving ever closer to God over a period of many lives. And when a soul reaches sufficient spiritual maturity, it naturally awakens a conscious desire to know God as its inmost essence, to experience truth personally. The spiritual longing then leads the soul to take up the practices and study the philosophy of Sanatana Dharma in order to complete the process of knowing itself. Thus, it is quite clear from the Hindu point of view that you cannot keep Sanatana Dharma out of a country when it already resides within the soul of every person in that country, waiting to be expressed at some point in the future. We can compare the inherent search for truth that exists within the soul to a dormant seed hidden in the soil waiting for the right conditions to sprout. This first response is the philosophical and mystical definition of Hinduism. So this one's pretty deep. Many people wouldn't understand it. But it's certainly an important one. Shows how Hinduism is within everyone. It's in the soul, like a seed, waiting for the right conditions to sprout. Second part of the answer to who is a Hindu and what is Hinduism is that Hinduism is the Vedic Dharma, or religion of the Vedas. Vedika is the word Veda, changed to an adjective, I believe. Vedic Dharma, or religion of the Vedas. In other words, Hinduism encompasses all religious traditions that accept the Vedas as scriptural authority. Religious traditions in India that do not accept the Vedas are Indian but not Hindu. Among these are Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, which reject the Vedas and thus emerged as completely distinct religions, disassociated from Hinduism while still sharing many philosophical insights and cultural values with their parent faith. The Vedas are revealed scripture, or Shruti, meaning that which is heard. They are timeless teachings transmitted to rishis or seers directly by God thousands of years ago. For countless centuries, the Vedas, particularly their Upanishads, have been the basis of philosophical inquiry, debate, and commentary. This attention has given rise to countless schools of thought. Revealed scripture is also the subject of deep study, meditation, and yogic practice, to realize the wisdom of the ancients within oneself. Most of Hinduism's sacred mantras are drawn from Shruti, used for rites of worship, both public and domestic, as well as personal prayer and japa. Question: what is the place of the Bhagavad Gita in Hindu scripture? This is not so much an issue in many countries, but it's definitely an issue in North America. Though sometimes the Bhagavad Gita is put forward as Hinduism's core scripture, its Bible, this of course is not the case. The Bhagavad Gita is a historical epic, or itihasa. Accepted as a central scripture by Vaishnava and Smarta followers, but not so regarded in the Shakta or Saiva traditions. The Vedas are the revealed scriptures that all Hindus hold in common, not the Bhagavad Gita. It's also vital to mention that scripture in Hinduism does not have the same place as it does in many other faiths. Hinduism is premised on realization. To be enlightened, one must have personal experience of the truth set out in the Vedas. It is not sufficient in Hinduism to simply own, read, and believe in a holy text, even the Vedas. Another point regarding Vedic Dharma is that sometimes the words Hindu and Indian are used in ways that make them synonymous. Of course, they are not. All Hindus are not Indians, and all Indians are not Hindus. Strictly using the term Hindu to refer only to those whose religion accepts the authority of the Vedas helps keep this confusion of terms from arising. The second response is the scriptural and liturgical definition of Hinduism. There is one more definition of Hinduism which will be given next. What do you think it is? The third part of the answer to who is a Hindu and what is Hinduism is that Hinduism is a religion comprised of 4 primary sectarian traditions known in Sanskrit as mata. Saivism, Vaishnavism, Shaktism, and Smartism, as we all know. Saiva is Shiva, is God. Shakta is Goddess Shakti is supreme. Vaishnavite Lord Vishnu is God. Smartists who see all deities as reflections of the one God, the choice of deity is left to the devotee. In other words, Hinduism is not just a one faith, but a family of myriad faiths which hold such divergent beliefs that each is a complete and independent religion. Yet they share a vast heritage of culture and belief. Karma, Dharma, reincarnation, all-pervasive divinity, temple worship, sacraments, manifold deities, the Guru-Shishya tradition, and a reliance on the Vedas as scriptural authority. Grasping this overview of Hinduism's structure is essential to gain a clear understanding of the contemporary Hindu temple. I have met many Hindus, particularly in North America, who find the multiplicity of deities present in many temples to be a source of confusion. This is even more the case in temples that have deities from Saivism, Vaishnavism, and Shaktism, all in the same hall. An understanding of the 4 traditions can provide worshippers with valuable insights into the quandary, making it clear which parts of a temple are traditionally Vaishnava, for example, and which represent the other denominations. Including the denominations of sectarian worship and answering the question, who is a Hindu, also helps distinguish the Hindu from the non-Hindu who is studying Hindu philosophy or practicing yoga. The importance of this distinction may not be readily apparent. Like other religions, Hinduism has a hierarchy of beings in the inner worlds who work with those in the physical world who are Hindus by birth or conversion. This working together of the inner and outer worlds happens most fully in the temple. In those sacred precincts, the deity and the multitude of angelic beings, or devas, are able to bless, uplift, and purify devotees. Those who hold a Hindu philosophy but have not fully entered the faith do not receive the same blessings from the deity, as they have not given the deity permission to work with them in this way. That's Gurudeva's idea. The deity doesn't have permission. It's like when if you're a teenager and you're over at your friend's house, your friend's parents don't have permission to discipline you in the same way that your parent does. Permission is given when one formally joins the Hindu religion. It's also important to mention that Hindus new to the religion through birth or conversion do not simply join Hinduism. Rather, they join one of Hinduism's denominations and receive a traditional name through the Namakarana Samskara, name-giving sacrament. So that's Gunamaya there. Resides in Mexico. Here are some insights from Gurudeva on blessings being received from the deity. The gods can be and are seen by mature souls through an inner perception they have awakened. This psychic awakening is the first initiation into religion. Every Hindu devotee can sense the gods, even if he cannot yet inwardly see them. This is possible through the subtle feeling nature. He can feel the presence of the gods within the temple, and he can indirectly see their influence in his life. So those are three different ways of talking about who is a Hindu and what is Hinduism. This last one, 4 denominations, can come up in a number of ways. One of them is sometimes rather, what would you call them? Independent thinking groups say they're Saivite, but Saivites aren't Hindus. We're Saivites, we're not Hindus. So that messes up the definition of Hinduism if they're not Hindus. So we need to have that third way of looking at it. No, all 4 denominations, major denominations, are Hindus. They're also member of the mata, the denomination. So your religion is Hindu, but your mata is Saiva denomination. It's a good answer for that one. And it still comes up. Came up just the last few months. Someone was talking to me during a darshan session here and brought that up. And I pulled out an old book from Jaffna, Studies in Hinduism by Navaratnam, and he was facing that same discussion back then, answered it quite nicely. So I sent him a PDF of the book. We have a second topic, a light topic. It's an update on Yerevan temple construction. For those of you who don't watch our Today at Kwayadinam website, Taka, on a regular basis, the temple is really looking good. So I wanted to share some photos and some information on that. Oh, here we have our group. This was last year. 6 Silpis and 1 temple cook came in March 2018. We took a photo last year. Then in September 2023, the Silpis returned to India. We didn't have enough work left to keep all 6 of them busy at once. But there was enough for 3. So we dropped the group from 6 Silpis to 3 Silpis. So these are the 3 Silpis and temple cook currently here, scheduled to return to India approximately October 28th. Having been here 3 years and 7 months. Boy, it's hard to imagine that they've been here that long. 3 years and 7 months. And Silpis will not be needed again until a few months before the Kumbhabhishekam, when there are special things to do that can only be done at that time. And on the left here we have Umut. He's from Turkey, the country of Turkey. and 3 local helpers who have built the lava rock plinth. And what's unusual, you really can't tell unless you're used to lava rock plinth construction. They didn't use any small stones. Normally, all the stones are various shapes. They're not designed to fit together, and if you put them together, there's significant spaces between them, and the simple thing to do is you stick some smaller stones in the spaces and call it good. However, they chiseled each of the larger stones to fit precisely together, so there's no small stones in the entire plinth. And those who know lava rock work say this is really high quality work. Then you get a better view. This is a few months ago, but it gives a nice view from the distance, and you can see the perimeter wall in a nice way and how it contrasts with the lava rock plinth in terms of shape and color. Very nice. Then this year, the Silpi spent a number of months cleaning the stones. They used chisels to remove calcite, which is caused by water leakage, and a weak acid solution to remove the stains that just had accumulated over the years since the stones were carved. And at this point, we're happy to say that all the stones look brand new. No calcite, no stains. They look like they were just carved, ready to be shipped from India. So the temple really has a nice, clean, new feeling to it because of the work of the Silpis. Then we had the gold leafing. The gilders from Maryland finished redoing the domes and gilding the Kodimaram for the first time, because the Kodimaram wasn't there when they did the gilding a number of years ago. So that's looking very, very good, brand new. And the next project coming up is the installation of a 1-inch thick granite tile that will cover the floor area between the temple wall and the perimeter wall. So there's, on all sides of the temple, particularly in the front, there's an area that's just cement slab. So that's between the two walls. 1,600 individual tiles in 40 different sizes. Can you imagine that? 40 different sizes of tile are needed to fit it together because of the odd shapes of the temple wall and the perimeter wall, how they fit together in different parts. Oh, thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed that Yerevan update.